So, thank you everyone for joining our 13 sessions of Integration Architecture Certification Designer series, basically. And this session is about the connected app. Connected app basically is a very big topic. So whatever we can actually do, okay, whatever we can actually accommodate in this session, we have added, okay, and probably we'll see the demo as well. So let's start it. So before starting, let me introduce myself. I am Dhanikla Sani. I'm working as a technical architect in Content Business Solution. I'm certified application architect. And if you want to connect me, you can connect me on my Twitter, which is my Twitter handle is Dhanik Sani. Okay. I also write blogs. So if you want to see blogs related to integration or lightning, other architecture related concept, you can see my blog, salesforcecodex.com. So today's topic is basically again a Salesforce integration capabilities. Okay, so we are using connected app. So connected app will be used in all integrations. Okay, so we'll see what are the things available in a connected app. Okay, so agenda for today topic is what is connected app, what are the uses of connected app, what are the connected app terminology, what are the protocols we will use in connected app, and we will see the demos as well. Okay. So what is connected app? A connected app is a framework which actually enables any external application. Maybe it can be a .NET application, it can be a Java application, or maybe any third-party Salesforce application as well. Maybe the other third company, they have a Salesforce and they want to integrate with our Salesforce application. There also we need a connected app. So basically, connected app is a framework which actually enables an external application to connect with our Salesforce application using API. Connected app uses standard protocols such as SAML, OAuth, and OpenID. Okay, connect to authorize, authenticate, and provide a single sign-on functionality for our external application. So these protocols basically is very important, and they have different work, or they have different things to do. So what are those protocols benefit? Why should you use that? So first is OAuth 2. So first people normally whenever see OAuth, normally if you ask anyone what is OAuth, they normally think okay it's open authentication. So no, it's wrong. It's open authorization. So basically OAuth 2 is industry standard protocol for authorization, not for authentication. It's a focus on client side to provide specific authorization flow. Now, when we go with the authorization, there are different kind of authorization flow, different for the different kind of devices. So, like we have a web application, we have a desktop application, we have a mobile application, and we have other connected devices, maybe AC, maybe mobile, maybe a fridge. So these are also devices can be connected. So for every different kind of devices, there are different kind of authorization flow. Okay. So that OAuth is supporting all those. So maybe in some time, they will ask you. So whenever you give your credential, they will ask you, do you confirm that whatever your credentials they will use, do you accept that credentials? Okay. Or do you accept those requirements? So once you authorize it, then only the third party application will use your credentials and they will use your system to connect. OAuth basically is allow a user information to be used by third party system without exposing your password. So how? So basically, because authentication is done by other system, other mechanism. Okay, so authentication is already done. So after that, only you have to get the data. We have to get the data for particular request. So in that case, we don't require a password. In that case, we only require a token, some kind of token. Okay, maybe access token, and that access token only will be shared between two systems to get the data. Okay, so OAuth is for that purpose. OpenID, you can say OpenID is additional layer of OAuth technology because OAuth is only for the authorization. If you want to add one layer for the authentication, That one layer is added by OpenID authentication. So now combination of OAuth and OpenID is basically is authentication plus authorization. Both can be used for in OpenID. So it basically OpenID allows to verify the end user identity also. So basically, see how many will okay. Oh sorry. Okay. So in OAuth, basically, we are not sharing users' detail. Okay, who has used my application? Who has used my application? Whose user credential are being used is not being returned. But in case of OpenID, we are also getting a user identity. In what case it is required? Let's take example. You have created your Salesforce application, and you want that a single sign-on functionality will be enabled. So whenever or single sign-on, or you can say OpenID functionality you want to enable. So whenever Salesforce will be used or will be accessed using Gmail. So whenever Gmail will be used for login in your Salesforce application, in that case Gmail will be providing user credentials, so user information, basic user information to the Salesforce or not. That thing basically. Second, let me. Guys, 1 second. Let me enable that. Gmail consent. Okay, so when Salesforce will be logged in using Gmail, so should be Gmail provide basic information about that user or not? So in case of OpenID, they will provide a basic information. Using that information, if you want to create a credentials, create a user in your system, in your Salesforce system, then you can go ahead with that approach. So OpenID will also give you basic user identity, basic user information, so that you can use that information in your system. Okay. SAML basically normally people use for single sign-on functionality. Like if you want to connect, in normal right now in COVID cases, like every corporate company is actually given work from home functionality. And if they have multiple applications, they have multiple sites, and if their user they want that okay, every user has to go, and in every system they have to provide the user credentials to the login. So might be there's a problem because the public sites or public internet, maybe there's a problem with the security. So what they instead of that, what they can do, they can start a single sign-on functionality for one application. They can directly connect to the other subsystem, other sub-application of your corporate system. So in that case of in that kind of a use case, you should go with a SAML integration, SAML single sign-on integration. Okay. So these are the three protocols will be used or will be basically already integrated in a connected app application. Okay. So what are the features, basically terminology we use in a connected app? So first is access token. What is access token? So whenever we want to integrate a third-party application, want to integrate with your Salesforce application, so when they hit with their credentials, whatever consumer key, whatever the secret they we have provided to them to call our system, so they will get a token, and that take token will be used in subsequent call to our system. So that token basically is basically Salesforce consumer token, and that token will every call they will hit to our system. Okay, and that will all the data will be provided based on token itself. Okay. Second is authorization code. So authorization code basically when we use web server flow. Okay, web server flow Or let's take example when let's say you want to create a connection integration application with Fitbit, Google Fitbit. Okay, so when Google Fitbit, you want that every consumer will provide first their consent that okay, I want to give the detail of my credential, my Fitbit detail or my fitness detail to the my company or the insurance company which they actually have taken the insurance. Okay, so those kind of law, the consumer will give his consent, then only they can actually use their details and they can give take whatever the user consumers fitness details is there, they can get. So first they will get the consumer detail. So that is the authorization code. Basically, when you hit the consent, okay, I am okay that they can use my system. At that moment, the authorization code is generated. With that authorization code, a second call will be go to the Salesforce system. Okay, I have authorization code. Now please give a access token on that authorization code. Okay, and based on authorization access token, which is generated from the authorization code, you will call your Salesforce APIs. So I know that is an additional one layer of getting access token with the help of authorization code. That can be reduced because there is two kind of concept. One is admin consent, or second is consumer consent. In admin consent, what you want that your integration, whatever integration you are doing, it it will be first time authorized using admin, and after that everything will be done in a background. So once it's authorization done, after that no authorization code is required. Internally it will call a system with that authorization code. But in case of consumer, every time you call the system, you have to give the authorization for that. So authorization code basically normally come when a web server flow for the authorization is used. Okay. Authorization server basically server which authorize a resource owner. Okay, and upon successful, basically it's give you access token to the requesting consumer. So right now, if you want to use Gmail, so it will be your authorization server who authorizing that detail. Callback URL. So callback URL, the URL once your consumer, once your you can say client is authenticated that okay you are the correct user. After that where should I land to that user? Where should I land or redirect that user? Okay, now you are authorized. Now where should I push to you? Where should I redirect you? So that is the URL, that is a callback URL, and that can be set in our connected app creation. We will see how in our demo. Next is consumer. We know that the consumer is the website or application that use our connected app to connect with our system. Next is consumer key. Consumer key is, you can say, additional layer of key or additional layer of security where we are providing a key to the any consumer that okay, this is your key, and whenever you call us, you have to provide that consumer key. Why is it required? Because we already giving that okay, these are the credential, these are the user credential, and you have to call using that credential only. Apart from that credential, we are also giving a client credential, client secret key that you have to provide these two details. So this is, you can say, this is additional layer of security in your third party integration or integration calls. Consumer secret, again, whatever the consumer key I have given, what is the secret for that consumer key? That basically that is a consumer secret. Refresh token is only used in 2.0. So I told you when access token, when we generate it based on the session timeout policy. If session timeout policy is set as a 30 minutes, so after 30 minutes that access token will be expired. But after that, how to retrieve the data? So in that case, refresh token will be used to get the access token, and that access token after that you can call any API. So refresh token is used to get the new access token. Once that access token is basically expired, then in that case you can use a refresh token. Resource owner, the resource owner is the entity that grant access to the protected resources. Okay, so in case our like a resource owner is our Salesforce, who is owning the resources. So that is a resource owner. Resource server, the resource server is the server that hosts the protected resource. Like in Salesforce, we have a we are hosted a whatever application, community application we have hosted. So that is for that resource server. We are with Salesforce is a resource server that our community application. So these are the terminology which used in connected applications. Now, where we can use connected app? What is the usage of connected app? So connected, you basically before also I was thinking of the API, in only API integration we can use a connected app, but it's not the case. Connected app can be used in multiple scenario. Multiple scenario. So first is the accessing the data with the API integration, like any application they want to connect with your Salesforce, okay, and they want to get the data, they can you go with the API integration approach. This is the first way. Second, probably we can use the single sign-on functionality, okay, and that can also be handled using connected app. So basically, whenever you want that, okay, when you log in your system, instead of logging using your system, they want to go with the Salesforce system. Just take example, you have your business case or your business domain or business functionality. You are using MuleSoft as a API application. Okay, so for APIs authentication, you are using Salesforce application. Okay, so first you have to authenticate it using the Salesforce application. Then only you can call your MuleSoft APIs. So in that case, we can directly go with a single sign-on functionality. We directly call that single sign-on. Okay, that this is the our Salesforce system who is identify our users' credential, and as soon as you done, you will get the data because you already signed on in that system. Third is a manage access to the third party. So whatever like connected app you have created, you the other system or consumer is already using it. But what are the policy you want to implement? What are the monitoring technology you want to set? What are the session time out policy you want to set? Those things can be done using managing that connected application. Okay, so that we will see in our demo how we can do that. So this is the way we can create a connected app. Okay. So in basic terminology, connected app, we need only three things. One is the connected app name, and as soon as we put the name, automatically the API name will be generated. And you need a contact email also. Why it is required? Maybe like you are sharing your detail with the third party system. Okay. So or the Salesforce also. So Salesforce whom to contact in that case if something fails. So this is the email which the consumer or the Salesforce they will connect if any is problem. So when you create a connect app, you have to provide some access scopes. So let's go first in the connected how to create that. That will give a better understanding of the how to create and use. Let's take example. So creating a connected app, first you have to go in App Manager, right? Basically, and there you can see the one button, new connected app. So you have to hit this button to get started the connected app, and you have to provide the basic detail of your connected app, session one test, and my detail, and Sami. Okay, and after that, now there are many features available in this connected app. How you want to use this connected app? You want to use this connected app as an API. You want to use connected as a web app like you want to use as a web app authorization, okay? Or you want to use as a single sign-on, then this web app setting will come. Instead of using this thing, you want to handle the particular request with the your custom code. You can go with the custom connected app handler. You want that this connected app will be used in mobile app, okay, then you can use this setting. Okay, now if you want to use that this connected app will be used for the Canvas app integration, then you have to set these property. So in this session probably we will go with two things we will setting. One is the API and then web setting. Okay, and when you start enable OAuth setting, basically you are now going to set the enable OAuth setting. So basically to start with the OAuth authorization with this connected app, you have to hit this, or you have to enable this checkbox button. And when you enable this, lot of you can say controls visible, or section is visible for the setting up. Now I have told this callback URL, which is required that once the authorization is done, where you want to redirect to the server, this your application. Okay, that URL we will hit here, we will put here. And these are the detail I was saying or available over scope. So when this connected app will be used, how you want to use, how the data will be shared with the external system. So let's see that in presentation first, and then we will come back here. So in this scope, access product services. Basically, if you want to give access to the product API services on behalf of the user, what is behalf of the user? So I was saying that, okay, whenever we share the connected app detail, we also share one user credential with the customer or to the consumer. So whatever user detail you have shared with that customer or the consumer, they are actually based on that user credential, based on user profile, these API will be accessed. Okay, if that user credential have only access to the one or two object, they can only access one or two objects itself. Okay, so it is everything based on that the user which we have provided to the consumer. Next is the access and manage your data. So allow access to the current logged in user's account using API. So whatever user credential have access. Let's take example, we have a lot of standard object and we have a custom object as well. So if the user has no access on the account object, even the read access is also not provided. That's example. So when they hit that API using that user credential, they will not able to get any API, any data of the account object. So whatever the currency, whatever the access is to that user, only that data they can see. So that is our scope will be access and manage your data. Next is if you want to give the access to the chatter feed API, then you have to use this access and manage your chatter feed API scope. Next, if you want to give any custom permission, then you select this one. If you want to give the complete access of the data, okay, to the logged in, whatever the logged in user there, then you can use the full access scope. Then access your basic information, ID, profile, email address, phone. So basically this scope you should put when you want to go with the open ID integration, because they need these 4 or 5 detail as a basic information. So we have to enable this setting when you want to go with the open ID authentication. Next is allow access to your unique identifier, allow access to your unique identifier open ID, basically allow access to the current logged in user's unique identifier. Basically, when you enable this scope, so that after the enabling that connected app will help you to enable that user as a user agent flow and a web server flow. Okay, there different kind of authorization flow. Okay, so right now we are not handling that, or because it's very vast topic, very advanced topic. Probably this is not a part of connected up. That's why we have not covered. But there are different, probably 6 or 7 kind of authorization flow. Okay, so in that case, if you enable this scope, then you can go with the user agent and OAuth or web server flow. After that, we have a perform request on your behalf at any time. So when if you this scope you require when you want that when the access token is expired, and if you want the service, you want that the consumer can get the refresh token, get the refresh token to use as a getting the access token. Basically, when access token is expired, they want that, okay, with with the help of request refresh token, they can get the new access token or not. If you not provide that, then after the access token is expired, they will not able to get a new access token. So if you provide that scope, then only they will able to get a new access token with the help of refresh token. Okay, so it's very important actually. Provide access to your data via the web. So it's basically uh, it's helping you that okay, you have, if you enable it, then only you can go with the access token. So basically, whenever the API will hit, based on that API hit, if you want that access token, if is there, then only the API will be used. Then you have to enable this. Okay. If you will not enable it, then after the like authentication done, you will get the access token. So even the access token you have provided, you will not get the data if this is not enabled. So this is also again is very important. So once you create, so you have to provide all those details here. So let's example, in this case, I'm just putting the callback URL as the same system. Now you have to hit like I'm the one that okay, data API should be there, full access now, email address is there, and I want the refresh token should be also created. Okay, and this one. After that, you just hit it. And as soon as you do, it will create a new connected app, but it will take around 2 to 10 minutes to get properly replicated. Okay. So once it's created, you can see the consumer key and the secret. So this consumer key and the secret you have to share with your consumer that okay, or client that okay, you have to call with these detail as well. This is very important, which is required actually when they hit your APIs. Okay. So these are the details. Now, as we have created, we have to provide with the enable for device flow. You can see that this is for the limited input or display capability. Like if you want to use your television, if you want to use a fridge, or that kind of devices you want to use as a connected app. You can use like those kind of applications, those kind of devices. Then you have to enable this. Okay. Now, let's see how we can use that whatever the connected app we have created, how we can use that credentials with our ASP.NET application. Means ASP.NET is our consumer and they want to connect with our Salesforce application. So how they can do that? So we have created this detail. So we have to provide these credential. So what I have created one this is .NET application. Okay. So let me start. So right now it's not created. That's why it's giving an error that okay, that right now the given key is not present because that connected app is not ready for use. So let's wait for another 2 minutes. It's still not used. Okay, so till that time, what we can do, I'm going with the existing credential. So So these are the existing credentials I am using. The client ID which I have created, client connected app I have created previously. So you can see when I am hitting the detail, when I am using these credentials, what are the details I am getting back from Salesforce system. So what I'm getting, I'm getting the access token, I'm getting the instance URL, okay, I'm getting the ID, I'm getting a kind of token I'm getting issued at what time and signature. Okay, so these are the detail I'm getting using access to that connected app. Okay, so now you can see that ASP.NET application, they can consume our Salesforce API. Basically, you can see that I have described the application. Okay, I have described the application and I'm getting all the detail about the account object. These are the account object detail. We'll see. So through that connected app, I can access the Salesforce system. This is first one use case, which is used as an API. Now let's go this second use case where integrate service provider with your Salesforce org. Okay. So what we can do, we can enable a single sign-on functionality. Okay, in your application with the help of SAML integration with the help of OpenID authentication. Okay. So in that case, there are two kind of server roles are required or important. First is identity provider and second is a service provider. So identity provider, as the name says, that is a system which basically creates, which basically manage users who has made user as a data. Okay, so those system entity basically this provider basically help you that okay these are user credentials are there and whatever you want that okay that user is in our system or not that provide that identity we can provide. Okay, so that's why identity provider basically help you identify that particular user is correct or not. That kind of identification that system will provide you. The second is a service provider, which gives us services to the consumer. Okay, like in Salesforce, Salesforce is a CRM as a application. So that's provide services as a CRM application. So in our case, it's service. Salesforce is a service provider. Okay, and entry provider could be a Salesforce system, or could be an AWS system, or it could be a Gmail application. Okay, Gmail account. Okay, Google basically. So anything can be done in the identity provider. Okay, so SAML and OpenID. OpenID authentication is really used when you are going with a like a Gmail, another integration you are providing. Okay, so right now what I am doing, okay, I'm giving you the small detail about what are the integration with the SAML. So in SAML service provider with the SAML integration, to integrate a service provider with your Salesforce server, basically you are integrating two Salesforce system using that SAML integration. So what you have to provide, you have to create a connected app with the SAML 2.0 authentication. So how the flow will be there. So you can see the first user agent will go to the service provider. And why it will go to the service provider? Because I am the Salesforce application who actually provides you the CRM application. So I am the user. I want to see the consumer detail. I have to go to the CRM system. So I go to the CRM system, which is a service provider. Now in service provider, I have a two concept. I can use through the Salesforce system, or I can go with the other Salesforce application, which is only used for the identifying the user. Okay, so if I want to use identity provider, okay, so let's say example Gmail is identity provider or the other Salesforce system is identity provider. So once you land to the service provider, you have a detail of every linked account. Okay, in on the login screen. Okay, let's take example Gmail is one of the option. Microsoft is another option. Okay, so you can opt any of them. They will go like so you have hit the Gmail account. So as soon as you select the Gmail, it goes to the Gmail account to give you a detail. Whatever the detail you want to put, it's giving you a screen where you can give your user credential. Once that credential is valid, they respond back with one XML file, which is called SAML XML, which has all the authorization detail of that user. And based on that XML file, the authorization or the data will be faced in the consumer system. Okay, so this is a basically SAML 2.0 integration in your application with the help of connected app. We will see how that setting will be done. And probably I will write one blog also with each step by step approach where how you will connect two system as a single sign-on. Okay. Second is integrate a service provider with the OpenID Connect. OpenID Connect is rewrite. Basically, it's a rewrite of SAML using OAuth 2.0. You can say the SAML is little bit you can older technology, and OpenID is advanced technology which rewrite we rewritten the concept with the SAML. Okay. In SAML, basically, we are using a service provider to the identity provider, but in case of OpenID, we are using relying party to the OpenID provider. So the only the difference is there, but internally there is a lot of difference. Okay, okay. So how the flow will work in case of OpenID? Okay, in case of OpenID flow, what as a user I am requesting to the service provider or the real service provider return back to the user that okay, you have to provide your credentials. Okay, so get the authentication done. So once you provide the authentication, it go to the IDP, which is identity provider again, get the all the authorization done, authentication done, and after the authentication it will get the authorization detail as well, okay, with the auth code basically. And that auth code will be used, okay, will be used as a getting the access token. Okay, you will get the authorization code when after IDP authenticated. That authorization code will be used to get the access token, and access token, after the access token you will receive, you can go with a subsequent call of getting a data. So you have an additional one layer that you will get the authorization code, and after the authorization code you will get the access token. Okay, so how you can implement a single sign-on? So there's a lot of steps are there. Right now I will not able to handle that, but let me show how that will be used, how we can do that as a demo. So, so this is my Salesforce application. Okay, let me use this application. Okay. Now you can see this is my service provider application. Okay, so I have came here. Okay, and I have to provide the login detail. So apart from the Salesforce detail, I am getting a other option to get a login. A login right now is for the other Salesforce application. Okay, probably you can use Gmail, Microsoft, other option as well, but we have to enable it. So right now I have used the other Salesforce application, which has all the user detail. I want to get the authentication done with that system. So when I hit that, now you can see that I am connected or logged in or redirected to other Salesforce application, which is identity server. Okay. Now I have to provide the detail of the whatever user credential is available in this identity server. So now I have provided all my detail. Okay, it's asking for the OTP. Just give me 1 minute. Now see, this is the identity provider, but now you have logged in with the Gmail CSP service provider. We have not logged in using a service provider credential. We have logged in as a identity provider login credential, and you are easily able to log in into system. Okay, so that can be done. Okay, what we have to provide, we have around 7, 8 or 9 steps for using the single sign-on two application. Okay, I will write the blog or probably today or maybe maximum by tomorrow, and I will share with in our group also how we can enable two Salesforce system as a single sign-on. Let's move to the next topic now. Now we are connected. We are connected. Probably what I can show one demo for the mobile application as well. So what we can do, we can basically create a mobile application. Okay, we can create a mobile application using like a Habit application, or maybe you are using Android or your iOS application. So so that application again need a connected app detail, because you are giving a Salesforce, you are creating a Salesforce mobile application. So how the data will be fetched? How the data will be fetched in that mobile application? So what we have to do, we have to create again a connected application. And in connected application, you have to give all those details which is required, and that connected app detail you have to provide in your mobile application code. So what I have done, I have created one. This is one of the mobile hybrid mobile application. Okay, so after that mobile application is created, if you can see that this is a boot config JSON, which is available in the Salesforce coding store. Basically, I have created this application. You will get the www folder, and there is a boot config. Basically, when boot time is done, booting is done, at that time config this config file is done. Read. So if you see the first setting, remote access consumer key. This is the key which is for the connected app ID. So you have to provide the connected app ID here. So based on that connected app ID, the basically all the authorization authentication will be done and the data will be fetched in that mobile application. So this mobile application setting we have to provide in a connected app again. That setting is there. Right now I have not done, but probably again I will share that detail with you guys how to set up as a new application. So let me share that. The different looks like. So here connected app, and basically you have to give these setting here when you try with the mobile application. I could actually try with one of the application. I will share all those settings how we can do that. But you have to provide the, you can see the OAuth scope, whatever connected app scope you want to give, you have to provide here also. You can see we have a web, we have an API, we have a refresh token, we have offline access. All those scope which we have to set in the connected app also, we are also providing in the mobile application configuration as well. Okay, so this is a third use case where you can use mobile connected app as a mobile app integration. Okay. Let's see how we can manage our connected app. So once that integration is done, after integration is done, now you want to see or you want to manage, you want to control that integration. Okay, okay. What are the users? How many limit you want to limit the? You want to control the integration count. Okay, how many users they can come? How many users they can are using? Like probably we have said 2 or 3 users. In that 3 users, how many users they are actually using? Okay, and how many users they are not using actually. So those kind of monitoring, you want to change the session setting, you want to change the restrict, you want to restrict with the IP call. So all those can be provided using the basically managing that API setting or managing the connected. So first, you can install a connected app. How you can install a connected app? You by default, whenever you install a Apex in product in a Salesforce application, if the connected app is there, you can directly connect. That directly will be installed in your system. Second way is you can go in your connected app OAuth uses, and there you will also get a button to install that particular connected app. You want to see? Let me show that connected app OAuth uses, and you can see this is there is a button install. So by default, these connected app will be available in Salesforce. One of if you want to install them, you have to just hit the install button, and it that connected app will be installed. So using that approach also, you can install your connected app in the system. And how to install any third-party connected apps? Basically, you have to go in again in that section and you install there using manage package. Okay, and if you are installing application, basically it will not delete completely. It will only delete the OAuth policy. Okay, so if you want to completely delete, then we have to delete the from delete developer console. Okay, and after that only you can delete it. We can also block application so that you that application that connected app will not be used by any of the systems. Like you can see, this is the button block. So you want that this connected app will not be used, not be accessible by the consumer. You simply hit as a block button. Okay. So that access we have using that we can manage basically. After that, this is basically very important policies we can enforce in a connected app once it's created. So first is permitted user. Who are the users who can actually permitted to use your connected app? So first, all user may self-authorize. Basically, this you are actually normally see when you use Workbench in Workbench with your application. Whenever you use Workbench, they ask your detail. Okay, let me show what are the detail they are asking. Let's think here I'm using Workbench. Okay, login with the Salesforce. Okay, but it's asked, not asked the detail. So yeah, you can see they are asking allow access. Okay, so whatever detail the user credential is there, with that user credential, which is this Danisani gmail.sp, I am confirming that the workbench can access my basic information. Workbench can access my data using web. Workbench can access all the data with this my credential. So whenever your connected app will be used, this screen should be popped up or not. And that is a setting basically. Want that every all users may self-authorize. Basically, every user they want to use connected app, that kind of screen will pop up and that user has to confirm it. So this is for that setting. Admin approved users are pre-authorized. This is a setting where you want that whatever admin is already approved, that okay, these set of user by default they can easily access to the system. So how to do that setting? So let me show that one of the connected app. Okay, not this one. I have multiple application open. Sorry, this one is not that case. Let's go one of the app manager, external system. Let's go in view. You directly can go manage also, but let's go here. I'm going to manage. And here, when you edit policies, now you can see there is a second option. Admin approved users are pre-authorized. Now, what are the user which is pre-authorized? How to set up that? Okay. So for that, what you have to put the detail. Once you set up this, you select that. Once you that, then you will come here, sorry, and you go to view, and there you have to provide all the profile detail, basically. Yes. Or scope, trusted API, customer attribute, customer selection policy. Okay, actually I have not enabled, that's why it's not showing. 1 second, let me enable it. Save it. Now, once I have enabled, I am getting manage profile and manage permission set. So basically, based when I have set up this, now I am getting the profile and permission set sections where I have to give which profile is by default is pre-approved from that kind of accessing that application, accessing that connected application. So I have to provide the that provide adding. We have to add that profile here. Okay, using the manage profile, or if you want to go for the permission set, you can also go with the permission set. So that setting basically the policy will use for that purpose. Okay. Next we have IP relationship. Basically, you want that, okay, you want to restrict that this connected app can be used in from which IP ranges. Okay. You want to restrict that. And now that nowadays is very important that okay, everybody is working from home, and some certain user you don't want that these kind of, let's say, sales agents or somebody other agents, you don't want that they will work from home. Okay, they should come only work from their offices. So those kind of restriction you can provide through this IP relaxation. Okay, again this is edit policies. Okay, you have to set the policy. So there's a four kind of policy you can restrict or you can add in using IP relaxation. The first is enforce IP restriction. You are enforcing whatever you have set up in profile, whatever you have set up as a user, whatever IP credential, range I have given, it should be accessed within that range only. That application, that call should be done from that IP range only. Enforce IP restriction, but relax for the refresh token. So it's saying you have to, whenever the first time authentication is done, at that time IP should be restricted. But after that, access token is expired. Now I am going to use refresh token to get the access token. In that case, when you am getting the refresh token, I'm using the refresh token to get access token. In that case, IP restriction is not required. That is the setting. After that, we have the relax IP restriction for activated device. So whatever the devices we have already connected, we already installed. For that, we don't want any restriction. After that, I'm relax IP restriction. Basically, I don't want any kind of restriction. Then you have to put that setting. So where should I do that? You can again you can do through that policies. So where is that policy? That policy is there. That policy, and you can see this IP selection policy. There's multiple four options available, and those are details which I have provided on slide. After that, we have the refresh token policy. So a refresh token is again we already discussed. It's basically determine how long a refresh token is valid for. So whatever refresh token is generated, what is the validity of that refresh token? We have to set that here. If refresh token are provided, users can continue to access the OAuth enabled connected app without having to reauthorize when access token expired. Okay. So basically, after that, you want okay reauthorize in background, or you want that admin should user should authorize only, then only we can use it. So those kind of policy we can set up here. Again, we have a fourth kind of refresh token policy here, which is refresh token is valid until revoked. So basically, like I have one of the scenario what I have done, I have integrated one of the community application with one of the PHP application. So through the PHP application, our community application was being used or it was used. So what they want that okay, whenever they integrate in our application, okay, they were calling our one of the API. They want that API access should never expire. Token should never expire. Okay, so those kind of scenario, you can go with that kind of approach. That refresh token will never be revoked. It will always be valid. So there's the first token. Second is immediately expire refresh token. So once it's used, as soon as that use, it should expire that refresh token. That should not use by for subsequent call. So that's second approach. Second option should go. Third is expire refresh token if not used for amendment. So I'm saying that okay, if that refresh token is not used in 7 days, you expire it. So if you want to go with that kind of policy, you can go with this approach. The last one is expire refresh token after end. So it's saying after 2 days, I want to expire this refresh token. Within 2 days, if it is not used, simply go with the expire it. So this kind of policy, again, you can go in my connected app manage process and you can set. So you can see these are the refresh token policy. Okay. And these are four options. So you can set for the actual user. Next, we have a session policy. So in session policy, what I am saying, the session will be active for how many hours? Okay. So you can set up that. If you are not setting up this timeout value, then the session policy will be based on the user credential which we have shared with the connected app. Even that is not shared, then it will go to the profile level. Okay, so it goes from the connected app to the user, from user to the profile, but it will use some kind of a session policy. Okay, so for those kind of thing, you can go and you can set up the session policy. Okay, so right now, yeah, these are the setting is very important for our connected app. I have done. I think we have our slides is also complete. Yeah. So if you have, I'm done with the session. If you have any question, okay, you can ask related to the connected app. Maybe one or two blogs I write related to this that will help you to go with in better understanding by step by step approach. Okay.
I think that, like, if you can just describe the difference between authorization and authentication, that would be helpful here. What is the difference between authorization and authentication?
It's very simple, you can say it's very complex also. In simple terms, what is saying authorization and authentication. Authentication, which we say is that okay, whatever user credential you are sharing, okay, you are passing, that is valid or not. That is valid user credential to use in my system or not. That is authentication. After you in, let's you your credential is valid. After you in system, now what are the resource you can use? Like you want to use, you can use your account object, you can use my contact object or not. That authorize, that is the concept of authorization. So authentication is identifying user credential. After that, whatever data access, whatever the resource access is there for that user, that is authorization. You got it?
Perfect.
Okay. Do we have any question or we can wrap up? Looks like not. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining. Okay. Probably we'll share the video on our channel. Okay. And we will have another next session, very important again. Okay. So we will share the detail in our group. Thank you everyone.
Thanks, Anik.
Thank you.